Hey, Brad, good to see you. I know you. It's been quite the grind for you this summer, getting to know everybody, and you said at the near the beginning that getting to know Auston as much as signing him was your priority. Can you just sort of walk us through how the contract negotiations went and how good you feel about them now at their end?
Well, thanks for the question, Kevin. Yeah, it's been, it feels like a long time ago this started. It hasn't been that long, but as I said when I first met with all of you at the press conference, it to me, it's number one was starting to build the relationship with Auston. Um, there was a lot of change that happened, and I think for Auston, who's been here a long time, um, I think before you just rush in and start committing to a contract, you got to get to know the people that you're committing to. And so, I really enjoyed this process and the process of getting to know Auston. He's, you folks have been around him. He's a remarkable young man. He's what I've really learned through this process, how smart he is. He takes in a lot of information. He's an independent thinker. He's very cerebral. So, for us, it wasn't necessarily a process of just going down there and trying to hammer out a contract. It was giving him an overview of, me coming in, where do I see the team, the things that we'd like to, try to do, get his thoughts, but then just have some general conversations about, life and get to know each other. So we went through that process. And then, that dovetails into the business side of working through a contract. And to me, this is a collaborative effort. You're trying to find something that fits for both sides. The bottom line is you're talking about, one of the world's best talents. And in the situation he was in, he could come in and demand a whole lot more than what he got. And that's just the reality. We talked, to me, it was a partnership more than it was a negotiation. And, it took some time just to kind of find a balance that worked for everybody. But I applaud Auston, and he kept coming back to, obviously he's got business that he, as any player does, it needs to be taken care of. But he would overlap that to how does it fit on the team construct, and how do we win, and how does this work moving forward. So it was a long process, but to me it was one that the word I use is it was a partnership and striking the right balance.
And just to follow up, if you can give us an idea of where things stand with William Nylander.
Well, I mean, as I said before, Kevin, I'm not going to comment on contracts until they're done, and we've got one done, and now we'll continue to work at Williams. Williams is a terrific player. He's a star, and you want to keep your good players, and so we have time. Williams got a year left on his contract. We'll continue to work away at it, and hopefully, when we have good news, we'll be for sure to share it.
Next up, we'll go to Mark Masters, TSN. Go ahead, Mark.
Brad, you mentioned the word balance, and Auston used that word as well when it comes to the term. 4 years. Why were you comfortable with that? How does that maybe work as a balance for the team?
Mark, you're trying to. We're in a little bit of a moving landscape here, right? Everybody knows where the cap has been in the last number of years, and then there's all sorts of predictions of where it could go. So, you're trying to find out what separate fact from fiction here, and so it's striking that balance of, they're all connected, right? Term and dollars are all connected, and so we're trying to find something that worked for Auston in terms of the dollar amount that put him at a level that he needed to be at and where he deserved to be at, and how that overlapped on the team construct. And so, to me, I think we found the sweet spot. And like I said, it could have been, Auston was a position where he could have come in and this could have been a lot more difficult. And it's because of his leadership that we were able to get this done when we were able to get it done. And at the structure and dollar that we were able to get it done. So to me, we've got we've got a year left in Auston's current deal. We've got 4 new ones after that. 5 years in professional sports is a long time. And so, you know, we're excited to, you know, for the next 5 years and excited to get this behind us.
In your experience, when a guy like Auston, who does what he does on the ice and has the role that he has, makes it a priority to get this done before training camp, what does that mean to the team, his teammates, just the whole organization?
Well, you're right, Mark. I mean, we all know, I mean, you know, where Auston sits, not only within our team, but within the league. And this got done because Auston decided he wanted to get it done. I mean, that's the reality. The manager can, you know, we can push Judd, and I think, you know, I want to applaud Judd's work in this. And we spend a lot of time going at it since I've gotten here. But it gets done because Auston says, I want to get it done. I want it to be a non-issue. I want the focus to be where it needs to be, and that's on winning and putting all of our energies on the ice. And that's why it's done. You know, really, at the end of the day, he made that decision. And it shows, you know, to me, it's a sign of leadership. And so, you know, ultimately we can all want certain things, but until the player says we want to get it done, that's why it gets done.
We'll take 3 more here. We'll go to Dave McCarthy, NHL.com. Go ahead, Dave.
Hey, Brad, good to talk to you. I know there are still some folks out there who are upset that it wasn't an 8-year deal, but is it fair to say that in Auston's case, whether or not 8 years was a discussion or not, if it was, the number would have had to be higher. So while you end up getting him for 4 years at the back end of the deal more, what you're doing in the short term is you're putting yourself in a tight spot because the number's got to be higher in the short term as well. Is it fair to say that this is the type of deal that really, really helps the group as a team in the short term based on where the cap is right now?
What I would say, Dave, is I come back to what I said a little bit earlier is use that word balance. You're absolutely right. You know, a guy once told me on a contract I was working on, he says, are you close? And I said, yeah, we're getting there. I said, there's only 2 issues left. The term, we just got to figure out the term and the money. You know, that's all there is in these contracts. There's 2 things. It's term and money, and they're intertwined. And to me, we found that balance there. You're exactly right. You know, and you got to look at the landscape that we're in. You got to look at the player landscape with where is this cap going, right? Like where, you know, we all think and hope that there is growth and significant growth over the next while. So trying to find that balance where it all fits and it works, that, you know, for the player, and you can continue to have flexibility to build around our best player. And so that, yeah, it works, it works hand in hand. And you know, we just felt throughout, you know, this process, we kept, you know, we landed on a spot that there was balance, right? The balance of the number of years. And I think, you know, obviously, hey, this contract is a big contract, and it's going to. But I remember his last contract too, and people, you know, 5 years, what's going to happen after? We'll deal with that when the time comes. But he just signed another contract, so you know, Auston reiterated throughout this process he's committed to this team, he's committed to this city, and like I said, I think we landed on a spot that felt right and worked for everybody.
We'll take 2 more here. We'll go to David Alter. Go ahead, Dave.
Hey, Brad. Now that the Auston Matthews deal is done, I'm just wondering kind of what's left on your to-do list. I know we talked about Sheldon Keefe in the offseason in terms of an extension, but also, you know, with the cap the way it is, are you looking at adding for this season from a player's standpoint before training camp opens up?
Thanks, David. we're from a team standpoint, you look every day. Obviously, there's you get to this time of the year, it's quiet around the league, but we continue to look at ways that we can supplement our roster, whether it be depth or the like. So we'll continue to do that as we get closer to training camp. And as far as Sheldon, I've really, this process has moved. Here we are sitting now at the end of August, and I came in, I think it was, beginning of June, and I've really, really enjoyed getting to know and really now working with Sheldon throughout the summer. We've been, we spent a lot of time together. We've gone obviously through the draft and spending time there and through free agency, and we talk daily about the team building process, putting together his staff that he put through. So I can tell you, I as we went through that process and I said, Sheldon would be coming back, I was really impressed then, and I continue to be more impressed each day. So we'll continue to work and talk about things on Sheldon's side and see where that gets to. But I can say that I've really, really enjoyed getting to know him, and I think he's a terrific man. I think he's a terrific coach. So we'll see where that goes to, and we'll continue to pick away at things that we think we can possibly do to help us.
And last one here, we'll go to Luke Fox, Sportsnet. Go ahead, Luke.
Hi, Brad. Thanks for doing this. I just wanted to ask about Ilya Samsonov. Just why did that get all the way to arbitration? How did that go? How do you feel about your goaltending right now moving forward, and maybe also the importance of picking up Martin Jones?
Well, hi, Luke. You jammed a lot into that question.
Yeah.
So let me see. So how do I feel about the goaltending? I feel good about our goaltending. I think Ilya had a really strong season last year. You got to remember, Ilya, still in, it's like dog years. In goaltending years, Ilya is still a young goaltender, and I think he had his most productive year as pro. I thought he had a terrific season. I think there's still certainly growth there. I like the summer that he's had. Ilya's been back for some time in town and training, and I think he's had a really good summer. And then I look at Joe Woll. I think Joe is a terrific young goaltender. We got a chance to see that last year in his limited time he had here, but then he made some starts in the playoffs, and I thought he was really well. I've gone back and watched the starts that he has had, but I knew Joe coming in, going back to his amateur career and seeing him in the American League. So I think he's ready to, he's ready to grab a hold of a job here. And so I look at that, and then we, obviously with Matt's situation, we've got some young goaltenders in the system, but they're young, and this position, as you all know, takes time. We don't want to rush anybody. I think adding Martin was a real good add for us, and we'll see. There's competition. This is the NHL. There's always competition, but it gave us depth at the position with a guy who's played a lot of games, won a lot of games. I thought had a real strong season with Seattle last year. It gives us a lot of experience. So I feel good about our. I feel we've got depth, and we've got players there. We've got experience, and we've got players that to me are just, coming into their own, and Ilya and a young player that's just starting to emerge in Joe. What was the other one? Oh, the arbitration process. I think sometimes there's some miss with arbitration, that it's this big all-out war, and you stand up and throw rocks at each other for 3 hours. The reason it got to arbitration is we couldn't get a deal done, right? The idea is you try to get a deal that works for both sides. We couldn't do that through negotiation, not for lack of trying on both sides. And so you go through the process of arbitration, and we're happy with the process. I said to Ilya as we were going in, You know, it's a little bit unique that the first time you meet your goaltenders at the courthouse. And so we kind of joked about that, but, you know, you try to, you know, educate quickly with Ilya that this is just the business side of it. And there's certainly, you know, we try to conduct our business professionally. So we had a good chat before, we had a good chat after. I've had many chats since. I don't think anybody should worry about any arbitration scabs or scars lingering. Part of the process. We're you know, we're through it and got that behind us, and I'm excited to watch it this season.